What's up, Christ Centered Mental Health community? This is me, David Lee Shay. I represent Christ Centered Mental Health, the ministry where I talk about mental health awareness from a Christian perspective in order to give you real hope in Jesus' name to glory of the God the Father. Before we get started on this episode of Real Life with Schizophrenia, I just have an announcement to make to those of you that are new to the channel. Please check out the Christ Centered Mental Health Ministry website. It's www.christcenteredmentalhealth.net. There you can have access to the On Faith and Mental Health blog. You can check out our statement of faith. You can find out how to support the ministry through Patreon, Venmo, or Cash App. You can check out the Christ Center Mental Health Ministry store. And you can find out how to contact me or someone on the team for 24-hour peer support. All right, as I said, this is mine and Joseph's bi-weekly episode of Real Life with Schizophrenia, where we talk about mental health issues from a Christian perspective. All right, how you doing today, Joe?
I'm pretty good.
That's good. So the topic we wanted to talk about today has to do with marriage and mental illness. Like we want to share our stories
Yeah.
about marriage. So okay. So the first, what I want to start off with right now is I want us to share our stories about how we met our wives. So I'll let you go first, Joe. Why don't you share your story about how you met Caitlin?
Well, I was in a hospital because I manicked from a previous relationship, and after we broke up, I kind of went haywire, and I went in the hospital for a while. And then when I was getting released, they put me in a unit called Arizona's familiar with this term. It's called UPC. It's basically a transferring place where you either go home or you get transferred somewhere else to an actual facility. It's just like kind of a transport. And so I was in there and I was going home and I saw this guy flipping out. He was flipping on the staff. And I figured, I'm going to go talk to this guy. It seems like he doesn't trust anybody. Maybe he'll trust me. And, at first he was kind of suspicious, but then he grew trust between us a little bit. And then I eventually got him to go to sleep. He kind of dozed off. And then I was like, well, I'm pretty solid at this. Maybe I should become a peer support. So after I got out of the hospital, I went to the peer support. And this was about, I would say, around December of 2019, right around when all that Corona nonsense was going around, or whatever. And so I was doing the peer support thing. It was a pretty cool class. Shout out to my classmates if any of them are watching, which probably not. But so they had a Valentine's Day dance in February, right? I asked some girls to go. They all said no. One was like, I have a boyfriend. The other one was like, that's okay, So I was like, I'll just go crash myself and just roll my dice there, because really, I was doing the peer support thing in an attempt to get a woman in my life, right? That's the main reason why I was going to Ren and doing this peer support thing in the first place. That was my number one prerogative, right? So I noticed my wife for the first time, and we're playing hot potato. And I noticed that right when we played this, I immediately got eliminated, right? I guess they did that because I'm high functioning. I don't know. But as soon as I touched it, they stopped the music, and I didn't even have a chance, right? So, and then I noticed my wife, she did very well and got second place. And I was like, she's pretty cute. Like, didn't think much of it at the time, but I noticed her. And then at the end of the night, I was like hanging out with some dudes and stuff, and like we were just talking and whatnot. And I noticed it was like a slow dance type of thing. I was like, I need to get away from these males and try to find a female for the slow dance. So let me get away from here. Yeah. And I noticed the woman that was playing hot potato in second place didn't have no one to dance to. So like it was a real romantic song. I was behind her, and I tapped her on the shoulder. And from what I understand, she was like, she didn't know if she meant her or if I was asking her to like talk to someone for my behalf. But no, I was talking to her. I was like, do you want to dance with me? And little did I know she had a boyfriend at the time. He just didn't show up, right? If I would have known that, I probably would have said, "Well, she's off limits. She's not single." So I didn't know that. I had no idea she wasn't single. She had a boyfriend. You know, to me, even a boyfriend. If you have a boyfriend, you're off limits as far as I'm concerned. I only want to hit on single women. So it's kind of ironic that this happened this way. And
Yeah,
so I said, "Do you want my number?" And her response was perfect. She was like, "Yes." Like she was pretty eager.
yeah.
And then she kind of left. She told me that she didn't want to see her blushing. But I remember when I went home afterward, and my cab took me home, and he was like, "So what'd you do, man? How'd you do today?" And because it was Valentine's Day, and I was like, "I gotta dance," and she's right there, as a matter of fact. And then he goes, "You never know, man. She might be the one." And sure enough, she was. And so we started dating. We kind of dated loosely. We kind of separated, but then I remember one time I was depressed, and it was around Valentine's Day again. So I called her, and we talked, and we reconciled on Valentine's Day. So
Well,
then we started dating again, and you know, my father kind of got mad about me about this, but she had to move in with me. Her there was I don't want to get in, like, air dirty laundry out on the internet,
yeah,
but basically she had to move in with me. There was really no other choice about it if it was for her protection. So she moved in with me, even though we weren't married. She moved in with me. We none that's any business, but we didn't commit adultery while she moved in with me or nothing. We just pretty much lived with each other, and but we were dating, and then the next Valentine's Day, I got engaged with her. I proposed to her. She said yes. It was romantic, and then we were like engaged. I wanted to get married on Valentine's Day, but
yeah,
didn't happen that way. But we eventually, because of financial reasons, I couldn't get married right away. But then when I got my income tax check finally in October, it was due in basically in January or February, but my taxes weren't done exactly correctly, and I couldn't get my refund till October. Once I got it, I was like, I want to get married in November. So
yeah,
we haven't been married a full year yet. We've been married on November 21st. And so our 1 year anniversary is coming up this year, 21st. And I want to say right now, I absolutely love my wife more than anything on this planet Earth. It's the greatest gift God ever gave me other than salvation.
yeah. That's good. That's amazing. It's amazing how God uses all these little details to draw you to your wife. It's like
Amen.
it's really great.
Yeah.
Like it definitely, like my story, mine and my wife's, or like not okay, origin story, I guess you could put it. Like what happened, like okay, so my wife actually knew about me for like a few years now, because like back when I was at SJW, or a social justice warrior, like I made a video like titled "Why I Adore Black Women," and it got a lot of hits. It's probably like my most viewed video on YouTube. And my wife saw it and she thought to herself, "This man is not marriage material." And then she didn't see me for many years. And then one day, like she saw me again because this anti SJW YouTuber named Baring made two videos about me, and she saw those two videos, but she didn't make the connection that that was the same me from years before. Like she didn't know that that was the same person, and like so she was laughing at me because she thought Baring was funny, and then a few more years later, like she wanted to write a book on like write a she wanted to write an AMBW love story, which for those of you that don't know what AMBW stands for, it stands for Asian Men, Black Women. And so she wanted to write an AMBW love story. So she decided to join a few AMBW groups on Facebook to get a feel for what kind of people were in the groups, and so she could get some ideas for her stories. And like she was going through the list of group members to see like if she, and then she came across my profile, and it said that I was in the same group as her. We were both in a group called Reformed Bars, which Reformed Bars is basically a group for Christians who like Christian hip hop. Now, like there's some actual Christian hip hop artists in the group too. But like at the time I was no longer participating in that group. I just never left the group. And she saw me and then she's like, "Oh, is this guy reformed?" So she added me on Facebook. She was just expecting to be friends with me. And so we started talking, and then I shared a video of mine on YouTube or on Facebook, and she was like, she messaged me, and she was like, "Wait, are you Asian Dave?" And I told her, I was like, "Yeah, I used to be Asian Dave, but I recently left the SJW place, and I no longer identify as Asian Dave." And like, so we started talking. She asked me if I was still a social justice warrior, and I told her no. And like, we started talking. Next thing I know, we started talking on the phone, and we like got all the important theological questions out on right away. We talked about all like about life issues and stuff right away. And I knew like probably after the first week of talking to her, I knew right away. I was like, this is the woman I want to marry. Like it was a no brainer to me. I was like, I want to marry this woman. And
Right.
but I didn't say anything at first. I waited until we met up for our first time in Chicago because she had a race. So we like yeah, she had a race. So we met up in Chicago so I could watch her race. And then after she was done with her race, we just I took her out to eat at this really fancy restaurant called Niu. That's NIU, and like that was an expensive restaurant, by the way. It was like for like one plate of sashimi and then for like a drink, it cost me like $80. And we shared one plate together, and it still cost me like $80. And and then we went to see a movie, and then like at that day we made our dating official, like and that's actually when we had our first kiss. And then she flat out told me, she said, "Okay, if we're dating, you have a year to propose to me, and after that, you have a year to marry me." And I was like, since I already knew she was a woman I wanted to marry, I just decided, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get engaged to you, and I'm gonna marry you in 1 year, and that's what I did. And you know what, like, I do not have any regrets marrying my wife. Like, I love my wife so much, like I'm willing to die for her. Like so, it's like you said, having my wife has been the greatest blessing in my life, other than salvation.
Yep.
But like, yeah. So
Amen.
so here's if you okay here's a question. Here's another prompt that we could talk about. If you could give one piece of advice to a person with mental illness who's either that to a person with mental illness who's in a marriage right now, what would be one piece of advice you would give them?
I would say patience is key
Yeah,
because oftentimes when you're dealing with mentally ill people, when they feel wrong, they lash out, and
yeah,
so that often starts conflict.
yeah,
And like often me and my wife fight over words that like I'll say something that I assume that everyone's heard before, but she really hasn't, and
yeah,
kind of makes things mixed up and stuff. But really, it's just a misunderstanding, and really, there's nothing really. It's just not an issue, but it turns into
yeah,
one. And you gotta learn to bite your tongue, hold your pride. You gotta sometimes just say nothing and just
yeah,
let the other person say the last word. And if you are gonna say the last word, just say I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. I didn't mean to get upset. Like those go a long way because yeah, you're gonna get into arguments and fights and stuff, but the apology afterward is more key than anything else. So
yeah.
you just gotta
By the
remember.
way, by the way, I want to let the viewers know, like me and Joe, we're coming from kind of slightly two different perspectives. Like he's coming from the perspective of someone with mental illness being married to a woman with mental illness. I'm coming from the perspective of a man with mental illness who's married to a woman who doesn't have mental illness. I just want to put that out there because I believe that's like a big difference between the two of us.
Yeah,
Like, but like it's
that is
like
a difference. But
yeah, yeah,
when I was in my dating career, so to speak, and dating single women in earlier in my life, I hid the fact that I was mentally ill because I was high functioning. So I would figure I would hide it, but
yeah,
eventually it kind of complicated things further, and like those relationships didn't work out. But I feel that that was actually supposed to happen because
yeah,
after I got saved, my life was pretty miserable for the most part. And I was wondering, why did you save my life, Lord? Like, why did you save my life if this is all I'm going to get in this world is being single and going through all these problems that I'm going through? Like, why? And like bad relationship after bad relationship and loneliness, I was getting fed up. And then I realized because when I met my wife the first time, she was basically agnostic, right?
yeah,
And I came to a point where like I love this woman, but I don't want to be unequally yoked. So one day I proposed a question. I was like, "What do you feel about the Bible and God and things of that nature?" And she was like, "I don't know. I don't really believe in that stuff." And I was like, "Would you be willing to listen to the gospel and maybe perhaps give him a chance and believe because
yeah,
it's an important thing in my life, and it should be an important thing in everybody's life. So, if you
yeah,
know, I didn't tell her like if you don't marry me or if you don't get saved, I'm not going to marry you or something like that. I
yeah,
wanted her to really share her the gospel and like you should, you know, like in
yeah,
love. And when she responded to it, I was like, this is a dream come true. I'm going to get
yeah,
married. I started plotting it right away. And I even went when I used to be in Facebook. I told everybody in the Christ Center mental health chat room that I was like, my girlfriend got found the Lord, you know, hallelujah. And then so I remember that, and then so like then I thought, okay, now I want to get engaged, now I want to get married and stuff because now this is the married woman I want to marry.
yeah. Well, it's like what I was gonna say. Oh, like the one piece of advice I would give again, coming from a married man married to a non-mentally ill woman. First of all, I would like to address something real quick. Like like you, I actually in the beginning of my dating career, like I didn't want to tell people that I had mental illness either. But eventually, got to a point though where I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be upfront about my mental illness with a woman I'm interested in. So I remember I would go on like different dating apps like Coffee Beans Bagel or whatever. I'd go on them, and the first thing I put on my profile was I have a mental illness, but I'm being medicated. And I use that as kind of like a litmus test. Like I was like, if a woman really desires to be with me, she should accept all of me. So like, and if a woman's not willing to accept me with a mental illness, then I don't want to be
Got
with
the
them.
right one, yeah.
Anyways. Yeah, so like, so that's what I did. But anyways, going back to like the one piece of advice I would give as someone as a guy with mental illness being married to a woman without mental illness, I think honestly, you like if your wife is married and you're not, if your wife is working and you're not working, then you should do what you can to take care of the house. Like you can still lead your household in different ways. Like it doesn't being a leader of the household does not necessarily mean that you have to be a leader monetarily. Like you even though you may not be making the money like that you need for the household, you can figure out other ways to lead. Like you could lead your wife in worship, you could lead your wife in taking care of business around the house. You can lead. There's different. You can lead your wife in making all the final decisions that you guys are gonna make. Because in the long run, like whatever decisions you guys make as a household, you as a husband have the final say so. And so there's different ways that you could be a leader without being the one who has the job and that's making the money. Now, eventually, like I know for me personally, I'm pursuing these biblical counseling courses because I want to like get a job as a biblical counselor so that one day I will be able to take care of me and my wife and any kids that we have. So like yeah, it's a slow process, but I have faith that God will bless my works. So like all right, so what's another prompt? Um let me see. I thought of one earlier. Oh, okay, so what do you think is one thing that you should look out for as someone with mental illness being married to a woman with mental illness? Like what's a red flag that you have to look out for?
You know, I, in my opinion, personality flaws are worse than actual mental disorders that have to do with chemical imbalance, because those can be treated with medication and but personality flaws. I would never date a narcissist. I would try to stay away from them as much as possible. I would never date a psychopath. I would never date a
Yeah,
antisocial person. Like there's some of those personality flaws, sociopath, psychopath, whatever. You want to stay away from those. Like you're better off staying away from people like that. So if you can pick
yeah,
up on stuff like that, and you get like little mini a psychiatrist or psychologist yourself, it's good to know that stuff, because those are a nightmare to deal with. So, but
yeah,
someone's bipolar, someone's schizophrenic. In my opinion, that is something manageable as far as I can handle. Like I can relate to that. I can identify with that. I don't know if I have any personality flaws or not. I've never been diagnosed with any, but I
yeah,
know that I can relate to a schizophrenic. I can relate to a bipolar person, ADD,
yeah,
or if they have other things. I can relate to that as well, because even though I might not have, say, PTSD, I realize it's real, and that they suffer, and it's like I suffer, and so I got to show them empathy.
yeah. I think for a red flag in a marriage between a mentally ill husband and a non mentally ill wife, I think a red flag would be like, well, okay, so early on in my marriage, I would feel like I was less of a man for not having a job to where I could take care of my family. Like I feel like less than a man. Like I wasn't like I was just a bum. Like that's how I felt. So like I guess like if you're a mentally ill man married to a non mentally ill woman, like don't feel like you like all hope is what got lost. Like you could still, even though your wife may be working and you're just taking care of your mental health, the fact that you're actually getting out there and you're taking care of your mental health and you're working towards stability, that's a huge step. And I would not want, you don't need to like knock it. Like it's hard work just taking care of mental health. So like, don't knock yourself down. Like you need to understand. So like, you need to focus on taking care of yourself first. Because if you don't take care of yourself first, then you definitely can't take care of your wife.
Mm.
Like the thing is, like even if you're not working, like say you're not working, your wife is working. That does not mean you can't do anything. Like you can, like I would strongly recommend that if you're a mentally ill man, like I would strongly recommend you figure out what your talents are. Like get a
Mhm.
piece of paper out and write down all your talents that you have, and don't say that you don't have any talents because
Everyone
everybody has a talent in something. So try and figure out what your talents are, and then pray to God, talk to your elders at church, and see where God's leading you to like utilize your talents for His glory. Like that's the best kind of advice I could give you. Like if you need to like figure out what your talents are and how you can use your talents to glorify God.
Yeah, like with my job, for instance, I was in the mindset where like I cannot do customer service ever again. But lo and behold, I'm doing customer service again. But it's different than cashiering. I'm a passenger assistant at an airport, and I just like walk people who are disabled around, or people who are too tired to walk, basically. And
Yeah,
it's tips. and it's decent money, like it's full time job, and I just try to keep myself occupied and whatnot, and I have to do what I got to do because this is this like you have a slow start, but if I
Yeah,
stay in this company long enough, earn some vacation time, and just stay in the company and earn raises and stuff. I like the job, I do. It's a good
yeah,
job, one of the best jobs I ever had in my life. So I want to
yeah,
stick with it, and um, since I'm the breadwinner now. Like where like before we were equal pay, but now I'm the breadwinner. I gotta move out of this apartment for one thing. I got goals that I'm trying to accomplish, and the job is step number one. And then making money, getting a dog for her because I want a dog to be here so that she can be her companion and whatnot. And I want her to be as happy as possible as I can make her because she's had a rough life and she doesn't deserve half of the stuff she goes through because she's the sweetest woman I ever met in my life and she has a golden heart.
yeah. That makes sense. Um, can you think? Do you is there? Can you think of any prompts that you want us to discuss?
Um, what would um, what would your advice be before getting in a relationship, like before even the marriage part? Like, what are you getting into when you're dating someone who's mentally ill, from the perspective of like dating someone normal, and I guess I could say the one when you're dating someone fellow mentally ill.
I would say honestly, if you're getting out there and you're dating around and you want to date women who don't have mental illness, it is best to just like anytime you're getting into a relationship, the sooner you can get it out that you have a mental illness, the better. Like the sooner you can tell them, the better it will be. Like you can, like I said, when I was on Coffee Meets Bagel or like Plenty of Fish or whatever, I would put in the profile that I have a mental illness, but I'm medicated and I'm stable. And yeah, like that probably scared away a lot of women. But you know what? Like I said, any woman who gets offended or scared away by that, they're not the woman I want to be with. Like honestly, like when I met my wife, one of the first things I told her was that I have a mental illness, but I'm medicated and stable, and that went a long ways with her. And she even like one of the things that she really loved about me. Not only was it because I was so honest and straightforward, but like she was everything I was everything she prayed for. She said she wanted to be with a reformed Christian who believed that Arminianism was a false gospel, and she wanted to be with someone who is family oriented. And I like, and the thing was, she actually, I and I told, like I said, I told her right away that I have a mental illness. And I honestly, when I first told her, I thought I was going to scare her away. I was actually really nervous to tell her that. But I don't regret telling her that because now I'm married to her, and like she's the woman of my dreams.
Yeah. Well, if you're gonna go online and try to find someone online and you're mentally ill, I would avoid pentecostalsinglesonly.com because you go on there, all the women will tell you have a demon.
That's not a real website,
I'm
is
just
it?
kidding. I'm just kidding.
I was gonna say.
No, like I'm just saying, there was a time where, speaking of that UPC incident, not only was that peer support incident happened, but I noticed like when I was in there, I noticed a lot of cute girls in there, and I was making some of them blush, and I was like, it just bringed in my head, I'm gonna get
Yeah.
a crazy girl. That's just the thing I thought in my head. Like I want to get a crazy girl. I like getting normie. Sorry with the language. Sorry, but that's just my mentality at the time, and so I was like, when I go to rent to get my peer support, I thought that like I would do well there. Like I was like, I'm in my 41. I'm like at the time I was like 37. I was in my late 30s. I was in good shape, unlike now. Still fairly young. I felt like I was still handsome at the time or whatever. So I was like, I can do pretty well there. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, at first, I was getting hit on a bunch of dudes there at first, not so much the women.
Yeah.
So but anyways, uh, if you're gonna date mentally ill women, I think that is proper, because when that shows that you want to date someone who you have in common with, and common ground, and things in common. Because like, not only just is it refreshing when you date someone your age and they have the same shows as you and the same culture and the same music and whatnot. That's always like a good thing. I think age gaps can be kind of bad, but at the same time, me and my wife are a little have an age gap, and where we love each other tremendously. But when you have things in common, like such as mental illness, you kind of have a bond where, like, me personally, I give my heart goes out to anyone who suffers through mental illness, and I
Yeah.
always cut them more slack than I do with someone who doesn't.
Yeah.
I just kind of resonate with them more. And
Yeah.
so, like, it was just inevitable I was going to marry someone with mental illness. That's who I felt
Yeah.
like I should. So,
Yeah. That's good. Like I agree with you. It's better to be with someone that you have stuff in common with. Like, cause like if you don't have anything in common, what are you gonna talk about? It's just I don't know. I actually at one point I
opposites
was
attract, supposedly.
well at one point I was thinking about before I met my wife. I did think about dating a woman with schizophrenia or some kind of mental illness. But like I couldn't really find a woman with mental illness that had the personality that I like. Like one woman I was talking to, like she was really boring, so I didn't want to talk to her. And then like there was another woman I was talking to that was a single mom with 4 kids, and I was like, I don't really want to deal with a single mom. But but yeah, it was just weird. Like, and then when I met my wife was the perfect woman for me.
There you go.
I'm so grateful for her.
Yep.
All right. So, do you have any other prompts?
I think I'm out, man.
All right. Okay, we'll go to the videos then. I only I only had 3 videos that I picked out, anyways. So, um, I'll do this one. 5 ways. Hold oh shoot. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Uh, like this video is not too long, so all right.
Health tips are about how mental illness affects marriage. Hi, I'm Angela. I have a husband.
I thought this was an interesting video because it says 5 ways mental illness affects marriage. And like I already watched this video, but I would like to hear your thoughts about this video.
Sure.
With bipolar 2 disorder, my kids have ADHD, and I myself have struggled with depression. You're not alone. In my last video, we talked about how our child's mental illness affects our relationship with them. So if you missed that video, be sure to check it out. Today, I am so excited to be back sharing content after not being able to be in the studio due to pandemic restrictions. So I decided to get creative and film outside to stay safe and still get you some content. One of the biggest ways that these times have impacted our lives is in the relationships that we have. So this is really timely. Author and minister Gary Thomas writes about marriage, saying that a good marriage isn't something you find, it's something that you make. That's true whether mental illness is a part of the equation or not. But when mental illness enters the picture, it's definitely a game changer. A multinational study of mental disorders, marriage, and divorce published in 2011 found that a sample of 18 mental disorders all increased the likelihood of divorce, ranging from a 20%.
That is really interesting. 18% of marriages with mental illness end in divorce. That's man, like
18%.
Yeah, 18%.
Well, is it the national average 3 out of 4?
I don't know. Like
18% ain't so bad.
yeah, it's still I don't know. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Increase to an 80% increase in the divorce rate. Now, those stats are really sobering. And it's definitely something that we want to, think about and really, be considering. But we really can improve our chances at success. My husband and I have been married for 25 years, and a big reason that we've stayed together is identifying the effect.
What?
How sweet. They've been married 25 years. That's great.
Yeah, I know.
Of mental illness on our marriage and finding solutions. You don't have to stay stuck. So let's look at 5 ways that mental illness affects our marriage. Number 1 is isolation.
Ooh.
Feeling isolated is almost a given. Life is different for us, and it feels like no one can possibly.
Okay, what do you think about that person? Do you ever feel isolated?
Not really. No, nowadays, I only feel isolated at work and we can only talk on the phone. But other than that, me and my wife are always with each other. And, like when I'm not talking on the phone with my friends, me and my wife are always out on dates and walking around and playing video games with each other. We're very close to each other. We're always, we don't call each other and text each other a lot because we're always with each other,
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't really feel isolated either from my wife because we always do things together. But I will say this, like, I believe isolation can be more than just physical. Like, you can feel isolated from your loved one when you guys don't see eye to eye on something.
Well, I realize that every marriage, regardless of mental disorders or not, there's going to be some fights, but you just can't take them too far. And you gotta be willing to compromise and apologize every time you get into a fight.
Yeah, that's true.
Understand. And that feeling can easily pull you into that sense of loneliness or being separate from others, even people who love you. That puts us at an even greater stress level, and your marriage feels like you're just isolated and you aren't building that community of support in difficult times. And that's especially true right now. Number 2 is stigma. It can really cause you.
Okay, what do you think about that one, stigma?
Stigma is the number 2 cause of what, or it's number 2 for what reason?
It's the number 2 ways that mental illness affects marriage.
Well, yeah, stigma and trauma and things of that nature always enhances your symptoms as far as negative symptoms as mental illness go, and some people stem from stigma. So,
I think in my case, like, the stigma really comes out in the idea, like, people look at me and they think there's a problem with me when they see that my wife is the one working, and I'm just like, I'm just living off it. Well, in their mind, I'm just living off a disability because they don't see the hard work I'm putting in to do my biblical counseling courses so I can get certified. They don't see how I am making moves so that one day I'll be able to take care of me and my wife. Like, people just look at me like, oh, look, there goes David. He's so lazy. He doesn't want to work. So I think in that way, that's how stigma is affecting my marriage.
Well, the thing is, you're not going to be too appealing to the ladies if you do absolutely nothing. Now, you might not get results right away.
Yeah.
But if you try to look for work and you take it seriously, you're going to land a job. If you take your education seriously, chances are you're going to graduate with flying colors. Take it seriously. Put in the work, do what you can, and then your results will bear fruit later on. But as you just got to start slow like everybody else. You can't expect rewards right away when you haven't barely started.
Yeah. Exactly.
You to feel ashamed of something that is completely out of your control, and shame causes you to hide and withdraw. The person with a mental illness may withdraw from their spouse because they feel like they're the cause of so much upheaval in the relationship.
Have you ever done that?
Felt like I was the cause of such problems in the relationship?
Like, have you ever withdrew from your relationship because you felt like you were the cause of, like, something? You were the cause of the frustration.
Well, to be honest, when my wife started dating at first, yeah, we did let it go each other for a little while, and I was the cause. I was the one that caused the breakup, but I regretted it. But it was fitting that on Valentine's Day we reconciled. But
Yeah.
I felt bad about doing it. And I didn't feel the right sense. Kind of
Yeah.
triggered depression and stuff. And one day I wanted to talk to somebody. I was scrolling through my phone. I was like, I'm gonna call Kaylin, give her a
Yeah.
text. I was like, remember me? And she was like, JoJo, and that was my nickname and ran like JoJo. And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, I prefer to be called Joseph. And then we just started talking, and then everything's history from then.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Relationship. Either spouse may feel like they're being blamed for the illness. Stigma makes a heavy burden even more difficult to carry. Number 3 is grief. This is big. For the spouse without the mental illness, there can
I could kind of okay. So I could kind of understand this. Like number 3 being grief. Like I don't know where she's gonna go with this, but I think sometimes when it comes to like specifically a mentally ill husband being married to a non-mentally ill wife, like I can see how, like I said, I don't know where this woman's going to go with this, but I can see how the woman, the wife that doesn't have mental illness, can feel grief over the husband that has the mental illness. Because I know there's times like I'll get put in the mental hospital for whatever reason, and like it'll be usually after I had an episode. My wife, well, she would grieve over the fact that I had a manic episode, and like it was almost like I don't know how my wife would describe it, but like I think if I could kind of see inside her mind, I think she would probably say like every time I had to go to the hospital, it was almost as if she was grieving of the loss of me or the loss of a piece of me.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. That's the grieving process, all right.
Yeah,
be this grieving process because the relationship can no longer be what it used to be. There are times when the person with the mental illness isn't presenting with symptoms, and you experience a glimpse of what things used to be like, only to then have it disappear the next day or the next week. There's also a grief for the person with the mental illness processing the diagnosis or the symptoms and the stress.
yeah.
Number 4.
I can see that because when I was first diagnosed, like I did feel like my whole life crumbled, and that's actually what led me to become very anti-Christ.
Yeah. I didn't accept my diagnosis right away myself.
You didn't?
No, I didn't agree with it because I didn't hear voices and see things that weren't there. So I didn't think I was schizophrenic, but I am.
And okay, here's one: over-functioning or under-functioning. I want to know what she means by this.
Is overfunctioning or underfunctioning. I'm so guilty of this. Murray Bowen, the psychologist who describes this distinction, says that this dynamic throws us into this mutually reinforcing trap. The overfunctioners, that's me, feel like they're coming to the rescue and will bend over backwards to fix any situation that they're presented with. It's all about taking action and protecting themselves from feeling helpless or vulnerable. Their spouse may reinforce this stance by acquiescing responsibility.
I can kind of see that because like sometimes I do overfunction. Like I think to myself like I'm Superman and I can do whatever I want, like whenever I want. No one can. And like I would rush in to try and be the hero. Like I remember one time when I was working at overnight shift at McDonald's. Like I wasn't even supposed to come in this night. Like I just came in just to hang out, talk to the manager, talk to the coworkers, and just have a good time. And like they around like midnight, they got really packed full of people. And like I decided, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna help them because they're falling behind. So I jumped in to help them, and like I ended up working a whole entire shift while being off the clock.
Oh, sorry. I dozed out there for a second. Sorry, I didn't get much sleep last night. I napped for like just a second. Can you repeat just a summary of that? I'm sorry. It was an
I was saying over functioning. I've done that before because I don't know, like I would sweep in and think I was a hero. Like I
right.
would, like I remember one night I when I was working overnight shift at McDonald's, I um I came in one night. I wasn't even supposed. I had the night off, but I came in anyways just to talk to my shift manager, talk to the grill cook, because I really enjoyed working with them. So then
Yeah.
around midnight they got packed. They got so slammed, and I decided to jump in and help them out to get them caught up. And long
Mhm.
story short, I actually worked that whole night off the clock.
Wow, that's pretty incredible. I would never. I mean, I've worked for free. I've like volunteered for farmers markets and stuff like that, and volunteered for like this. But I wouldn't working a shift at a restaurant for free. That's and something I've never done
That's,
myself. Like,
that's an example of how I was over functioning. So I want to see what
yeah.
she says with deep or
Underfunctioners facing a crisis or some sort of difficult marital situation feel anxious and overwhelmed. They withdraw and step back and feel like failures. Doing this
I never dealt like have you ever dealt with under functioning?
I've dealt with both of these.
You dealt with both of these?
Mhm.
I don't think I really dealt with under functioning. Like,
When I'm depressed, I feel this way. When I'm manic, I feel the other way.
oh really? Okay.
allows the overfunctioner to step into the superhero role, but at what cost? Number 5 is intimacy. All of the challenges that I've talked about will affect your overall intimacy, and it's difficult to feel close to your spouse when they're withdrawing and feeling guilty or resentful, or just kind of exhausted from all the stress. Recognizing this impact on your marriage is really important, but it's just the first step to finding strategies that will help your marriage become a strong and safe place. Let's remember what the Apostle Paul said in Ephesians 4:2 and 3. Be completely humble and gentle. Be patient, bearing with one another in love. Make every effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace.
Amen.
How is mental?
That's enough of that. Do you have any
Yeah.
final thoughts about that one?
Yeah, I've dealt with both of those. You know, I know how it is to try your hardest to do what you can to keep things from falling apart, and then you're like kind of like a quote unquote workaholic. You're trying to be as active as possible, and I also know what it's like to be paralyzed with like depression, and you don't do anything. You can't really do much, and you think that the world is going to collapse on you, and like so. I know what both of that feels like. So.
Yeah, I know what both. I don't know what the under functioning feels like, but I definitely know what the over functioning feels like. Like honestly, like I don't know. Like I just I feel like when you like I don't know. I feel like mania can be just as bad as I don't know which one's worse between mania or depression. I know when you're manic, it feels good and you feel like you can conquer the world, but at the same time, though, mania can be very dangerous. Just like depression can be very dangerous too.
Oh well, I know what I prefer over the other if I had to pick.
You would pick mania?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah,
Depression's are the worst.
yeah, I get what you're saying. I have one more video for us before we end for the night.
Sure. But we are watching the video. We're on it right now. What are you talking about? And my wife got mad on that one. She doesn't like my dad jokes too much because she thinks I joke around a little too much, you know.
You do joke around too much, so I'm just kidding.
Chat GPT says it's a sign of intelligence. So what do you guys know,
huh? All right, so can you see this video?
Yeah, it's Xavier Professor X from X-Men, right?
All right, so what to do if your husband or wife has mental health issues? All right.
Okay.
Having some difficulties with
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
mental health issues. We want to be caring. We want to be supportive. So there's some things we don't want to do. We don't want to say, hey, everything is just going to be fine, don't worry about it. We don't want to say, oh, you don't have
Yeah, I really hate when people say crap like that. Oh, hey, everything's gonna be fine. Don't worry about it. As if that's like like as if your worry is like a on-off switch.
Yeah, like that's like someone like that's like a artificial air filled placebo pill or something. Like that's not going
Yeah,
to do
like, exactly.
anything.
enough faith, oh, you're not trusting enough, you obviously haven't prayed, your relationship with God, there must be some significant sin issue. All those elements are part of our...
Yeah, if I had $1 for every time someone told me, oh, it's a sin issue, or you're not praying enough, or whatever, like I would be a freaking millionaire by now if I had $1 for every time someone told me something like that. Like the thing is, this is the lesson for people that have no for people that don't have a mental illness. When you're talking to someone with mental illness, don't say stupid crap like, "Oh, just hang in there." You're like, don't just pray more, read your Bible more. Like that does not help. It just is demeaning.
Unfortunately, most Christians take that stance, so to speak. I don't know the official numbers or anything, but
Yeah,
it seems like to me that me and David and Christians like us are on the fringe, basically. Like most people
yeah,
look down upon psychology in the Christian world, but whatever. I
exactly.
like going against the grain anyway, so that's fine with me.
Yeah,
spiritual psychological package. We all falter in our faith. We all falter psychologically, but we don't want to come at a person with those kind of elements. We want to create a nice, safe, soothing, calm environment to be able to have some discussion. We want to come lovingly, caringly. Well, I love you. I care for you. I see there's some changes. Can we talk about it? Tell me what you're feeling. Tell me what you're thinking. What's going on? If you felt that you saw a time where it started, say, hey, I noticed about 2 weeks ago there's been a little bit of difference.
you know what? This right here, what he's saying, this is exactly what my wife does for me. Like I love her so much because like she'll ask me, "Hey, are you okay? Like I seen you were kind of off like a week ago. How are you feeling? What's going on in your mind?" Like my wife will literally ask me questions like that. Like and
Yeah.
I feel good when she asks me stuff like that because it shows that she cares. She's trying to understand me and she's trying to look out for my best interests. I appreciate her for that.
Yeah, my wife is the same way. Whenever I seem distraught, like I'm depressed or angry, she calms my nerves by cuddling with me and giving me a shoulder to
Yeah,
lean on. You know.
yeah, that makes sense.
You know, anything going on? And did something happen? Did I say something? Did something go on with the kids?
You say, bro?
I said, right, babe, that's all.
Oh,
Sometimes it's just going up and giving a hug, putting your arm around, holding hands. If this is sort of beyond us, you know, we're not educated in this, we haven't been taught these kind of things, well, let's find some experts. Let's find some coaches. We get coaching for so many things in life. We get an accountant to do our taxes. We got a dentist to pull our teeth. We have drama coaches at school to teach our kids acting lessons. But in these things of real life, sometimes we're really afraid to go get coaching for that. We shouldn't be afraid. If we're struggling with something, that's okay to say, hey, look, I'm not an expert at this. Who can I go to for coaching? Whether it's somebody from the church, somebody from our small group, my mom and dad, my brother, your sister, whoever else that we look upon in our circle of influence that are real wise people, that are godly people, that are caring people that can help us navigate this and hold hands that aren't going to browbeat, that aren't going to whip, that aren't going to condemn, but are going to be able to be God's tangible hands of compassion and love. We want to make sure that our relationship is healthy to start with, so that we can engage in these.
I like that he brought this up because like you do have to make sure your relationship is healthy, like because it's very easy. Like I imagine if you're a mentally ill person and you're married to a non-mentally ill person, I imagine well, actually I don't imagine. I know for a fact that causes a lot of struggle. And the relationship could go really bad really fast if you don't pay attention to the signs to see if your relationship is healthy. Like for example, like I dealt with a woman for like 10 years who was very toxic for me, but I didn't see the I didn't see the red flags. I didn't see how I was in an unhealthy relationship. Like all I saw was, oh, she likes me, I like her. She says she's a Christian, blah 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 blah, and like it was a very toxic relationship. So what this guy is saying actually makes a lot of sense. You need to make sure you're not in an unhealthy relationship.
Yeah, unhealthy relationships. You have to work on yourself for one thing. You have to be in
Yeah,
a great mental state yourself, and like me and my woman, we had issues that we were going through at the time, but we worked on it with each other and helped each other. Like I remember when we first started knowing each other, like she trusted me enough to make me like let her see like where she was writing in her journal, and
yeah,
we were exercising together and stuff like that. And we just barely knew each other, and she trusted me
yeah,
right away. So it was only inevitable that we were gonna fall in love and get married. I think so.
yeah.
Like it
Amen to
was
that.
already starting good. So.
Yeah,
difficult conversation. So doing those maintenance things in a relationship are real important so that when we do get a flat tire, we can start to go into some emergency management mode or sort of crisis management
man,
mode.
this guy, I swear, this guy probably pulled the like this. Like you would think, like when me and my wife were taking advice straight from this guy, but we didn't. I never even knew who this guy was until yesterday. Like literally, me and my like I said, when me and my wife first met, we did talk theology. We did talk about life issues. We got all the questions, all the major questions down like before we even went on our first date. That's how I knew she was the woman I wanted to marry.
Yeah, I know this is looked frowned upon, but I did the evangelical dating thing, whatever it's called, and like it actually worked
Like
out.
you did the missionary dating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it worked for me.
Yeah.
because we have a good foundation of communication, of collaboration, to be able to know that I'm on your team. I'm going to be there for you. We can talk about this. I love you. I care for you. I want what's best for you. You might not be able to erase whatever the traumatic experience is, whatever the heartache is, whatever the grief, whatever the loss, whether it's been a present situation that's occurred, or whether it's a situation that maybe happened 20 or 30 years that's been triggered or regurgitated for some reason. We might not be able to make all that go away, but to know that there's somebody in this battle with them, there's somebody that's going alongside them to be able to help them with it. We want to help them feel.
I get that. There's nothing like knowing that your spouse has your back. Like
Yeah.
it's amazing. Like I never had that before. Like yeah, sure I had friends, I had family members, but like there's nothing like having a spouse who's always having your back, who always has your best interest in mind.
Mhm.
Like I'll admit, I haven't had these dreams in a while, and like, but I remember the first couple years of my wife's marriage. I would have these dreams about my wife, like where she's betraying me or leaving me or whatever. Like I'd have those dreams. It was like for the first couple years of our marriage, and like, I think it was because I was worried that she would leave me, and it was part of my separation anxiety. I recognize that, but like now I don't have those dreams. I don't worry about if my wife is gonna do me dirty or if she's gonna leave me. Because I know for a fact she's there on my side.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing. I've always been big on loyalty. I always
And,
had blind loyalty towards my friends and family and stuff, and I never
yeah,
really got what I wanted out of that stuff. But like my wife is a whole nother story. Like all the loyalty and love I give her, she gives right back and then some.
exactly.
So I always
Amen to
appreciate my
that.
wife always having my back and being there for me no matter what I'm going through.
Amen to that.
Feel accepted, connected, that God loves them, that God cares for them. It's like the prodigal son. God always wants to, he's looking out the door. He wants to see us coming. And then he runs out to get us. He runs out to greet us and greets us with open arms of joy. So whether it's something that they did that's caused these problems, or whether it's something that they didn't do, that they're just sort of a victim of stuff going on and they're having difficulty dealing with it, we want to be their lover, their companion, their advocate, their support, their strength. strength to help gird them, to be able to really allow Christ and God's love and compassion to shine through us to them so they can tangibly feel that through us.
So if I call that number right there, I can join the X-Men?
No, but if you call that number and you want to see a Christian counselor, you call this number 1-855-771 HELP 4357. If you call this number, they'll Focus on the Family can hook you up with a Christian counselor.
Yeah, the problem is, if only there was something that could help me remember that number.
Well, if you come back and watch this episode and watch all the way to the end, you'll see the number.
Yeah, that would probably help.
Yeah, it would. All right. So, is there any final thoughts you want to say, Joe?
No, it's been good to do the show again. It's been a while, but the thing is, me and David have been extremely busy. I've been looking for work. David's been his counselor thing, so that's why we haven't been on for a while. But now that we're getting the ball rolling on both our careers, we'll be fine from this point on. God willing.
Yeah, well, like I said, we're going to still do the show bi-weekly, so we're not doing it next week, but the following week we'll do the show again. If you guys have any topics you want us to talk about, feel free to contact one of us and let us know what you want us to talk about. Or if you want to be a guest on our show, you can do that too.
I know this isn't your area of expertise, but I think we should get into drug addiction at some point.
Nah, that'd be a good idea. We can talk about dual diagnosis.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, it would be cool. Maybe we'll talk about that next, not next week, but the week after. Yeah. That'd be a good idea. But yeah, Oh, by the way, I posted the link to Joseph McDermott's YouTube channel. Go ahead; it's in the description box. Go ahead and check it out. I think you'll like his videos.
Yeah, I'm a musician now. I make AI music.
Yeah. Thank you, Joe, for joining me for a wonderful show again. I had fun. Did you have fun?
Oh, I had a lot of fun. It was great.
Yeah. Thank you, Joe, for joining me. Thank you to the viewers for watching this live stream. And thank you to the people who are going to watch this live stream. And please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with anyone you feel like needs to hear this message. And if you've been blessed by the Christ Center Mental Health Ministry, please consider supporting the ministry either through the Patreon, Venmo, or Cash App for $5 or more Patreon pledges, or for a one-time donation of $10 or more on Cash App or Venmo. I'll send you a few copies of my books as a token of my gratification. All right, have a good night, y'all, and stay strong in the Lord.
Amen. God bless.
God bless.